Are you ready for some holiday sparkle? Because today we are making an interactive window shaker card. This one is extra special and full of festive fun, featuring products from the brand new and everything nice release by Simon Says Stamp. I can't wait to show you how the shaker window brings the whole design to life. Trust me when I say this one's got all the shimmer, sparkle, and Christmas cheer you could ask for. Well, hello, crafty friends, and welcome to my channel. The holidays are the perfect time to bring out all the shine, sparkle, and of course, a little interactive fun. Today, I'll be creating a festive window shaker card featuring the brand new dies from Simon Says Stamps and Everything Nice release. We'll be working with the balcony window dies and the holiday window decor dies, and these two coordinate beautifully. I can't wait to show you how we'll transform these into a gorgeous festive shaker window that's full of holiday cheer. The best part about these dies is their versatility. You can purchase them individually or as a coordinating bundle. And honestly, they work beautifully with so many other products that you might already have in your crafty stash. Whether you want to create a cozy indoor scene or a festive outdoor view, these dies offer endless possibilities for mixing and matching. Now, to save us a little time here, I went ahead and prepped all the pieces I'll need to assemble my shaker window, along with some of the holiday decor elements. I've die cut everything using a variety of colored cardstocks to bring in that classic Christmas charm. For the main window, I used a rich brown cardstock. And one of the details I absolutely love about this die is that the window actually opens up. You can choose to lay it flat on your card front to create a lovely layered scene, or like I'm doing today, adhere it to a piece of acetate to turn it into an interactive shaker window full of sparkle and movement. I'll start by working on my background panel, for which I have an A2 sized piece of cardstock. To add a bit of texture and interest, I'm using the A2 postage rectangles die. I absolutely love that delicate postage trim around my card panel. I feel it adds such a charming detail, and when you place it against a beautiful pink cardstock, which is what I'll be using as my card base, it really helps the shaker windows stand out and take the center stage. Next, I'm going to create the window opening for my card. I'm using the same die that I used earlier to cut out my brown window frame, and I've positioned it right in the center of my background panel. Once that die cut, I'll set it aside, the white window. It's perfect to save for another project later. Alternatively, if you want to add a little more dimension to your design, you can layer that piece behind the brown window frame. It gives a subtle lift and adds even more depth to the shaker window. Now that my window panel is ready, before we start assembling everything together, I thought it would be perfect time to stamp my sentiment. So I placed the entire assembly onto my stamp wheel. For this card, I am using the beautiful Merry Christmas sentiment from the Circle Sentiments stamp set by Simon Says Stamp. The window die also comes with that little fence-like structure. I'm not entirely sure what you call it, but I did go ahead and place my window and the fence temporarily on the panel just to help me figure out the perfect placement for my sentiment. Once I had everything lined up, I stamped my sentiment using black ink to keep it crisp and classic against that soft background. I always like to use my Simon Says Stamp grid transparency sheet when aligning my sentiments. I can now peel out this panel from the stamp wheel, and we can go to the next step, which is adhering the acetate sheet to create our window. When it comes to adhering acetate or any kind of plastic element to my cards, I always like to use double-sided tape. I usually avoid liquid glue for this step because, in my experience, it can make the acetate feel a bit flimsy, and sometimes the glue seeps out of from the edges, which takes away from that clean, crisp finish that we're going for. Using double sided tape keeps everything neat and gives a nice, secure hold. So here I went ahead and added the double-sided tape along all four edges of my window frame, and once that was in place, I peeled off the backing and carefully adhered my acetate sheet right over it to create the clear window for my shaker element. I usually like to trim my acetate sheet a little larger than the actual die cut window. This gives me some extra room to properly align the acetate behind the frame and ensures that everything seals nicely. Having that little bit of overlap also helps prevent any of those tiny shaker bits from sneaking out once the card is assembled, because there's nothing worse than shaker that leaks glitter or sequins. Now that my acetate window is securely in place, it's time to adhere the brown die cut window frame right over it. I'll be using liquid glue for this, and well, yes, I know I mentioned earlier that I usually avoid using liquid glue on acetate, but this one's a bit different. Since the window frame has delicate narrow edges, I'm applying just tiniest dot of glue, being very careful to avoid any of that excess glue that might ooze out. This way we get a nice strong hold without any messy edges showing through the clear acetate. Now before we go ahead and add all the beautiful holiday decor pieces onto the window, let's first create the shaker well. For that I'm using double-sided foam tape. Now if you want to add extra depth and make room for more shaker bits, you can definitely double up the layers of foam tape. That'll give the shaker more dimension and movement. But for my card, I decided to keep it a single layer. I made sure to run the foam tape all the way around the window opening, sealing every edge completely. This helps the sequins and the embellishments stay contained just around the window area. Now, that way, when the card stands up, you'll still be able to see some of those sparkly shaker bits twinkling through the window, which I think makes it look extra festive and magical. Now, before I remove the backing of the foam tape, I like to run a little bit of that anti-static powder using a paintbrush on the edges of the foam tape. This will make sure that the shaker bits don't stick to the foam tape when you try to move them around. I'm using a purple cardstock for my background, but you could directly adhere this onto your card base as well. If you'd like, you could absolutely take this design a step further and create a little scene inside the shaker window. Maybe add some die cut trees, snow, or even a cozy indoor setup. But for this card, I decided to keep it simple and let the beautiful purple background shine through. I really wanted all the sparkle, shimmer, and festive embellishments to take the center stage and cast the light through the window instead. Now, when it comes to assembling the shaker cards, everyone has their own way of doing it. But here's what works best for me. I like to start by carefully removing the backing from the foam tape first before adding my shaker bits. You can definitely do it the other way around, add your embellishments first and then peel the backing. But I have found that sometimes when you do that, the paper can shift slightly and few of those tiny little sequences or beads might stick to the exposed edges of the foam tape. That's exactly what I try to avoid. So by removing the backing first, I have a clean, ready surface and I can seal the shaker window right away once I add my embellishments. I added a few glitter sequences and some tiny star embellishments inside my shaker window, keeping it light and elegant. Now, once I was happy with the mix, I carefully sealed the window by placing my purple cardstock panel right over the foam tape. If you'd like a fuller look with more movement inside the shaker, you can always double up on the foam tape. That'll give that extra space to add more sequins and beads. Now, the shaker window is all sealed and ready, and it's time to decorate it with a touch of holiday cheer. I started by adhering the little fence piece, which I die cut earlier using black glitter cardstock. It adds just the right amount of sparkle and really frames the window beautifully. Next, I arranged the garlands on both sides of the window to give it that festive, cozy look. Now, here I'm using my reverse tweezers to hold the little tiny pieces of the decor in place, and this helps me to hold everything nicely without my fingers coming in the way. Now, since this piece was really delicate, I had some glue oozing out, for which I like to use my pokey tool, the pointy end, to remove all that excess glue. I cut the garlands using green cardstock and I decided to keep them simple without any ink blending or shading this time. I felt that the clean green tone added a nice pop of color against that purple background. Now, once that was done, I adhered all of these pieces directly onto the acetate window using small amount of liquid glue, making sure everything stayed neat and secure. And for the final touch, I added those little dots that I cut using pink and purple glitter cardstock to match the purple on the inside of the window and the pink card base. Now I die cut them again using the die that was part of the die set. They add the perfect finishing sparkle and tie the whole festive window scene together so beautifully. I absolutely love how clean and simple this window card turned out. Now, even though the overall design is quite minimal, there's still so much sparkle and shine. From the glitter cardstock details to all those beautiful sequins that catches the light inside the shaker window. It's the perfect balance between the elegant and festive, and I really think the simplicity lets all those details stand out. Now, you could use that remaining white window to create another card. Once my card front was ready, all that was left to do is adhere it onto my pink A2 size card base. I did that with liquid glue. You could also add foam tape if you wanted some extra dimension, but I plan on mailing this card out, so I wanted to keep it as flat as I could with just one layer of foam tape for my window. And just like that, our project is complete. Here's a final look at the finished card. I love how that shaker window adds such a fun interactive touch to a classic holiday design. I had so much fun creating this interactive holiday shaker card using products from the Simon Says brand new and Everything Nice release. And there are so many beautiful dies and coordinating pieces in this release, perfect for adding festive details, sparkle, and interactive elements to your holiday projects. If you love creating cards that are both elegant and fun, you'll definitely want to check out this release and see all the possibilities for yourself. Now, all the supplies that I used to create this particular card will be listed down in the description box below. Please note that all of those links are affiliate links, which means that if you shop using one of my links, I'll get a small commission at no cost to you guys. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.